Hi, in this video I'll be giving you some tips and tricks on how to use Puffy Paints. I began this project by sketching out my design using a number 2 pencil, and now I'm just going to start squeezing out some paint out of my Puffy Paint, shaking the bottle down well, and then ensuring that the tip is clean before I begin my project. Make sure that if you're using the Puffy Paint to write letters, that your letters are big and there's plenty of space to expand if needed, just because Puffy Paint tends to clump into itself, so it's best to work with large letters. To achieve really nice and 3D looking letters and lines using Puffy Paint, you want to make sure that you squeeze the paint out, that you're holding your bottle kind of perpendicular to whatever surface you're working at, and that you're letting the paint kind of come out or ooze out, right? And fall into place wherever you're trying to put that line in, or wherever you're trying to create that shape, whatever space it is. You want to give it enough room to fall, and from then on out you want to make sure that you don't touch it while it's still wet, just because this will flatten out the paint and it'll take away that 3D look. If at any point your bottle gets clogged, make sure to use the paper clip to press out that clog, and then squeeze out a little bit of Puffy Paint to ensure that the paint is flowing back as it should. So just as explained, if removing Puffy Paint, make sure that the Puffy Paint is dry. Then scrape off with an X-Acto knife, and once the big pieces are removed, you can use a pencil eraser to take off any paint remaining. Just note that if the surface under the Puffy Paint has paint, you might need to use the same color and brush to repaint the spot before continuing on. Here I wanted to show you guys how Puffy Paint can also act as a wall, and once dry you can use a fun writer or a detail brush to fill in the space. It works great for block letters, outlining, or creating fun shapes like you see here. With a detail brush you could also paint large letters with a dark color and use white Puffy Paint on top just to give them an extra accent, and it's just the same as using black Puffy Paint. So all you have to do is make sure that the surface that you're working on is dry, and then you can use the Puffy Paint to go over the letters you've created. Here's a little close-up of my mug on fired so you can see the differences between the Puffy Paint and how awesome they look after they've been fired. Thanks so much for watching. Happy painting!